Tonight, a controversial case revealed through never-before-seen evidence. The 11 Alive investigators are shedding light on the now public evidence file in the death of Meghann Pope, a young mother-to-be. You can decide for yourself, but many have questioned whether the punishment fits the crime.
Meghann Pope should have been turning 30 this Saturday, but the life of the expecting mother was abruptly cut short.
Brian Feltman is charged with murder.
I love you, May May, with all my heart.
More than 2 years have passed.
She was the most precious thing in my life.
If time truly heals all wounds, her father, Lawrence, will need several lifetimes.
There's not a moment that I don't think about her. We have a picture of her showing it to us, her little belly.
But Meghann never got the chance to be a mom. She and her unborn baby were killed on August 19th, 2012.
Justice will never be done at this point, ever.
Justice in this case has been a controversial subject. Was her death a murder, or was it just an accident? It was 6:30 a.m. on a hot Sunday in August. Henry County Police arrived to this Locust Grove subdivision for a death investigation. At the scene stands Brian Feltman, live-in boyfriend to 27-year-old Meghann Pope. Feltman tells the responding officer that they'd been fighting. He had left early that morning, but calls from Meghann eventually made him head back home. Feltman first says while driving, he passed her body lying in the roadway, only realizing it was his girlfriend after he had stopped. Neighbors who rushed to help say Feltman told them the same story. Quote, "She was just laying there." Police reports describe Feltman's bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, and the smell of alcohol on him. He refuses a sobriety test, and his story to police starts to change. Feltman would admit he knew he'd hit an object in the roadway, that he heard a thump, had driven to his driveway, and turned around to come back and saw Meghann, then called for help. Police bring Feltman in.
Brian, what were you charged with? I'm not charging you with anything just yet. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on.
It takes police almost 4 hours to get a warrant to test Feltman's blood alcohol level. Even still, it registers just above the legal limit at .081. Feltman offers his version of events again, this time on camera.
She was laying there. I was driving home from my friend's house. She was I hit her about. She was already laying in seat at the last second. I just couldn't. Turned around and came back and just grabbed her and I called 911.
Feltman says he won't talk more without a lawyer. Police tell him he'll need one.
You're going to be charged with felony murder, and you're going to be charged with feticide for the death of the unborn child.
Coming up next, recorded phone calls from jail.
Let me ask you a question. Did you hit my daughter in the head with a gun?
No, I did not.
A distraught father questions the man responsible for his daughter's death.
Sir, I did never do anything like that, sir. And I know they was going to try to turn you against me.
You'll be charged with felony murder, and you'll be charged with feticide for the death of the unborn child.
Brian Feltman is now in police custody, facing questions about the death of his girlfriend and unborn child. Detectives start to investigate the evidence and the relationship between Brian and Meghann. Police find Meghann's hair and blood on the broken grille of the truck Feltman was driving. The truck belonged to Meghann. Police used text messages to determine that Meghann was upset and walking to retrieve her truck when she was run over. Police also begin to piece a story together from friends of the couple. Friends would describe a tumultuous 9-month-old relationship. Feltman had had a criminal past, and Pope wanted him to get a job, stop drinking so much, and get ready to be the father of their child.
The door to their bedroom is broke.
Friends had seen several doors in the home kicked in or even off the hinges, a hole punched in the wall, a note Meghann had left on the counter saying Feltman had recently scared her. But just a few days before Meghann's death, the couple had a fight more serious than usual. Meghann had told friends Feltman put this crack in the truck windshield and hit her over the head with a gun while she was driving.
He had a gun and hit her in the back of the head. And she showed me the bruises right here behind her ear.
While police collected evidence, Feltman from jail told loved ones he didn't murder Meghann, that it was an accident.
Hey, Mama, it's going to be okay, baby. Oh, it's fine. She's dead, Mama.
I know. It was an accident, though, sir. An accident.
Lawrence Pope had wanted to believe that at first.
Let me ask you a question. Did you hit my daughter in the head with a gun?
No, I did not.
There's texts out there that says that you hit her with a pistol in her head. There's your friends out there that know this. How do you think she has a knot on the back of her head that already started healing?
Sir, I did never do anything like that, sir. And I know they was going to try to turn you against me.
But 3 days after the accident, he had his doubts.
I just want you to know that I did not run her over on purpose. Never. I didn't see her to the last second. Sir, no, can I keep explaining?
Okay.
Can I keep explaining it? I mean, and I freaked out. I didn't even know what it was. A split-second thing. I did not do this on purpose.
Last August, the case went to trial. It lasted more than a week, but during it, prosecutor Jim Wright tells us he started to worry about getting a conviction. Certain evidence wasn't admitted, like the gun that Pope said was used in that incident she told her friends about. Defense attorneys claimed Meghann was walking towards the center of the road, and it was simply too dark to see. Just before closing arguments, Wright suggested a plea deal.
Please do not do this. They'll let it go to the jury, and the family would accept anything the jury would give him.
But it didn't. The jury was sent home, and Feltman was sentenced to serve 7 years, but had credit for 2 he'd already spent waiting for trial.
It was like re-murdering her again. I mean, to give him 7 years, are you kidding me?
Wright didn't want to go on camera, but says given the circumstantial evidence in the case, he didn't believe he could prove Feltman intentionally caused Pope's death.
We don't have another chance in this world.
But Lawrence Pope will always disagree.
The last picture is the last picture. The last kiss was the last kiss. The last hug was the last hug. That's it.
Brian Feltman pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide and feticide, but has always maintained Meghann's death was an accident. We wrote Feltman a letter to prison several weeks ago, but never heard back. He has less than 5 years left to serve. Katie Beck, 11 Alive News.
Now, we've posted more on Katie's story on 11alive.com, from police interrogations to recorded jailhouse calls and the evidence. It's all right there on 11alive.com.